Feeling hot and sensual in your body. Feeling hot and sensual in your body. So I'm showing you, these are my notes with a nice little red colored drawing, because this for me feel like, I paint and I draw, and this for me feels like passion and sexiness and feeling hot and sensual. So I did this as like to set the tone for myself, to set up the agenda. And so what we're going to be doing today is we are going to talk about the mindset briefly, very briefly, the mindset around feeling hot and sensual in our body. And then after that, we're going to actually experience it. So we're going to do a visualization where we are going to feel the hot and sensual self. So this is not something you can convince your mind. You can't convince yourself that you're hot and sexy. You can, of course, work on the mindset. You can be aware of it, but I think we need to live it. And the way we do that is, when you work with me, we do a lot of visualization. So hi for those who joined. This is about being hot and sensual in our body. And so I want to introduce myself very briefly. My name is Anna Laurence. I'm from France originally. I'm based in the UK now. Been living around the world for 18 years now. And I coach women on feeling sensual, feeling feminine, reconnecting to their body, reconnecting to their aliveness. And I specialize in coaching women that are over 40. I'm 44 myself. And how do you keep that youthful vibe? How do you keep that aliveness? Whereas you might have a really heavy workload, you might be having children to raise, you might have a husband, and lots of things to manage. And so my typical clients are women who carry a lot on their shoulders. There's a lot of emotional labor that they carry with themselves. And I help them to reconnect to their feminine self. So I'm telling you that because I want you to understand that even if you feel really drained, very heavy, very tired, you can still do this work. You can still feel connected to yourself. And in fact, this work will allow you to connect with yourself. And this means that you're going to have a new source of energy for yourself. Like you're going to tap into a new source of energy. And that's very, very important, because that means that you're going to find a lot more energy, a lot more headspace, and you're going to operate from your full self. And I really believe that you do that from exploring your feminine self as a woman. You do that through connecting with your body. So yeah, I coach women on that. I wanted you to understand where I'm coming from. I've been a dancer, exotic dancer, for a very long time as well. Dance on stage, do pole dancing, do all sorts of dance. And I know very much what it is to cultivate a sense of feeling sensual and feeling hot. No matter what happens externally in the world, whether I'm single, whether I'm in a relationship, whether I'm working in a strip club or elsewhere, like, how do you cultivate that sense of aliveness and play and sensuality regardless of what's happening in your life? So that's what we're doing now. That's what we're talking about. This kind of work, I think work especially well for women who are over 40, because a lot of these women have lost touch with the feminine aspect of themselves. They often forgot even about their body. The body becomes almost inexistent, like we're not really paying attention too much to the body. We're very much in the head. And that means that you are really cutting yourself from a huge part of resource, a huge part of fulfillment in life. And when I talk about being sensual, I love always talking about the senses. So being sensual is not just like being, sexy. It's actually connecting to your presence and your sensuality, your senses. So that's really what we're talking about. So I wanted to define that for you. And then I do want to say that often we have an internal dialogue that is not so positive with our body, especially again as we age. I posted a reel like a couple of days about that, and it really had a lot of views, and I think it's because it's touching on a nerve where as we age we start criticizing our body even more than we already were, and we're having that discussion, that internal dialogue that is usually not so positive with the body. But there is a way to change that. There is an awareness around that, and it's learning to see the body as a force, like a force, you know. It's something you get power from. It's something you can get confidence from. And I often compare with, you know, when you think of boxing, I don't know if any of you have done any boxing in the past. When you're a beginner, you don't know how to box. I'm not good at boxing. But when you don't know how to box, you box like that, and you destroy basically your wrist, your forearm is really hurtful after you know, and your punch is not really strong because you're punching only from there. But then when you learn to box, you learn to actually use your hip and really punch, you know, with the full, and so there is a body rotation, the body weight goes. And so this is exactly the same that I'm trying to communicate about operating your life from your head or from your full self. When you operate from your body, from your head, it's like you're punching from the full body. So you'll have much more strength, much more impact in life than when you're just in your head and you're like, you know. So think of that. Your body, instead of trying to fix it and instead of seeing it as a threat, see it instead as, like, think of it as like, what happens if I start seeing my body as a strength, as a resource, as a tool? What happens when my body is the source of confidence for me? And so when you go even further than that, which is what we're doing today, we're thinking, okay, the body is actually a source of feeling hot, feeling alive, and it's also sensuality, and sensuality is being present, being in your body, being connected to the world around you. So really think of sensual and hot. Yes, of course, it's flirting and it's going on date and feeling like all hot and sexy and dancing super hot or whatever the shape it is for you that's like externally, but it starts, of course, as always, from the inside. So we'll do the visualization in a few minutes, but I want to tell you that feeling hot, feeling sexy is tapping into your life force. It's a very natural thing to do. It's the same way we need to eat. When you need to eat, you're hungry. Well, you know what? We need to reproduce. And in order to reproduce, we need to feel desire. We need to feel excitement. We need to feel that, that urge. And so that's a very animalistic, very basic behavior that we have, and we all have it. And a body that feels desire, a body that feels pleasure, is a healthy body. It's a healthy body. So how about starting to think of feeling hot and spicy as this is my life force? If you're into spirituality, you might call it the Kundalini energy, the Chi, the life force. And it starts, it's often something that starts from the root chakra or the womb. Like for the woman, like the parts that are really the ultimate feminine parts, right? So you kind of like think of it as like an energy that's like taking your whole self, and that's life force. And that is what it is to be attractive and to be attracting. It's like you have this really fiery energy in you, and that's something that I think it's often easy to cultivate it externally with, like, when we get direct feedback from people we're flirting with, we're outside, we go dance, whatever. We feel that life force, it gets activated from external factors, external people. But I believe we cultivate, like there is an art to cultivate it internally for yourself, within yourself. And then, of course, you can express it to the world. You can You can decide to share the hotness, the life force, the sensuality. You can decide to share it with the world, with someone in particular. But you should enjoy it first. You should really, and you can cultivate that within yourself. So that's what we're doing. And so the attractiveness, feeling attractive, attracting the life force is often a need as well to feel seen. I think as women, we often have I guess anyone, any gender, but we have a need to feel seen, to be seen. We have a need to be noticed and to be acknowledged. And I think it's something around social acceptance and survival, where we are a social creature. We need the support of the tribe. We need to be part of communities. We couldn't survive alone in the wild. So there is a natural sense of wanting to be seen, wanting to be accepted, wanting to be appreciated, and of course, like I said earlier, just like feeling hot and sensual. Of course, there is a very basic need of reproducing, and it's a very healthy thing to cultivate. It's a very healthy thing to play with. So I want you to think of being sensual and hot, being in your body, as flirting with life, flirting with people, flirting with anything. Like, it's a game. It's really like being playful in life and embracing that part instead of feeling ashamed. I think many women, especially as we get older, there's a sense of shame when we're trying to or wanting to be attractive, wanting to be seen, wanting to be hot and sexy. It's something we associate often with youth and being young and being... But no, you know what? I can be 45 and wanting to be hot. Fuck that. It's super healthy to want that. And it's not for external validation, even though, of course, like I said, we all need external validation to some level. But it's actually more because it's giving me a strong power, a strong energy, and it's giving me an appetite for life because I'm feeling, I have that Kundalini energy, that life force, as I mentioned earlier. So I want us to do a visualization in a minute. So stick around because we will actually feel it. We will cultivate that sense of sensuality, that sense of life force within your body. We will do that in a visualization. But I just wanted to add the element of the sensuality, which for me is quite important. It's something you might have heard me say before, is the fact that sensuality is engaging your senses. So I want you to think of this. When you are sensual, you start engaging with your senses. So feeling, touching, smelling, tasting things. And that really is a trick to go back to your body very quickly, is to come back to your senses. So that's right there, like just a little trick for you, if that's helpful. If you feel like you're living in your head too much, you're stuck in your mind, overthinking, one trick is to experience things. So just make sure you spend time tasting, touching, like touching surface around you, even like anything, touching the pen, touching the wall, like just being in that sensation and that presence. It's basically mindfulness. So hi for those who joined just now or a short time ago. I would love for you to share just in the comment one word that brings up for you when we talk about feeling hot and sensual in your body. Feeling hot and sensual in my body. What comes up for you? Is there any word, any emotion? It might be something like guilt or even shame. There's often lots of trauma associated with this topic. But also it could be something like excitement and play. And so I would love for you to share in the chat if you feel like it. That would be great. And also, of course, if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I will answer them. So I said we would keep this really short. So let's do a visualization where I'm going to guide you to embodying that feeling of being hot, being seen, being like, whatever that means for you. So you can close your eyes. I'm going to do it with you. So get comfortable. This is just a few minutes just to get you into that energy. And I want you to visualize I guess I want you to start feeling first in your body. Just check in with your body. How is your body feeling right now? So breathe into the body, breathe into the lungs, the chest. You can bring some fresh air into the stomach, the heart area. And slow down. I'm sure you had a really busy day. Just take a minute just to connect with your body and see how it's feeling right now. So there's no right, no wrong feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm feeling good or bad. It's more like, oh, my body is aching, or my body is tired, or my body is excited or joyful or energized. So take a second to check in within yourself. And now we're going to do a time travel to a time where we're going to do like 3 times different settings. So the first time travel, I want you to just right off the bat think of a time where you were outside with people. Maybe it was on a date, maybe it was in a nightclub dancing, and you felt like so hot, so sensual. You felt seen, you felt glowing and sparkling, and you felt seen and appreciated. So for this first one, we're going into more like a social setting. So maybe it's a long time ago, maybe it hasn't happened to you in a while. That's all good. Just go back to that time, and I want you to visualize that scene again. See who you were with, what was around you in the room, in the space. What were the elements that made you feel sensual and hot and sexy and seen? What were the elements in the room? Maybe there were music. Maybe it was the dancing, or maybe it was the look of some people that felt complimentary. And breathe. And now I want you to focus inward at that moment. How did the body feel? How did you feel? You might have felt light, excited, maybe some like electricity going through your body. Spend a bit of time in this emotion, in this feeling, and try to see the actual physical sensation. What did it look like at the time? And make a note of that. Make a note in your mind. There might be 1 or 2 things that came up for you, like, oh yeah, it felt like X, Y, Z. So just make a note in your mind. And now we're going to do a different time travel. We're going to go back into a time where you were shining, you felt seen, but more in a moment that wasn't necessarily in a social setting, but more something that you were doing that made you feel particularly seen, particularly shining. So see if there is a moment that comes up for you. It could be maybe you were giving a public speech, or maybe a day where, I don't know, you got your hair done, and on that day you felt really cool, really beautiful. Could be just something you've done at that, or maybe you were really good at something and you felt like people noticed around you. And so just the same questions than earlier. So first question is, what were the elements around you that created this scenario for you? And how did it feel internally? How did it feel that day, that moment? try to think of even physical sensations in your body. And so, just to give you an example, I remember, like, I don't know, 6 months ago, I got my hair done. For some reason, it really made me feel great. I felt really beautiful after, and it really kind of carried on for a few days, that energy. And I remember feeling like it was brighter, my hair was brighter, and I felt like there was just more light on me, more shine. I felt like more seen. And that was, that felt great. And then the last time travel we're going to do is one that it's an activity. I want you to travel to a time where you did an activity by yourself, for yourself. Something that could be really just like a meditation. Maybe it was a yoga class, something that felt more like a deeper personal journey that you did, but you did feel like that spiciness, that energizing, that aliveness, and maybe even sexiness. So I want you to visualize that. And whatever comes up as a moment, that's probably good. You don't need to overthink it, just pick whatever comes up. And breathe into it. I want you to look at what were the elements, maybe in the room, or maybe something you were wearing, things that helped you feel that way. And then last, I want you to feel what happened in the body at that moment. So that was a moment you felt alive. You might have felt sexy, or I don't know, really good at something. You felt really empowered from an activity or something that you did by yourself. And I want you to feel, how did it feel in the body? And you can breathe into it and make a note of that in your mind. And breathe deeply through the nose, deep inhale all together. And a deep exhale through the mouth. And you can come back, open your eyes. And I just want to give you an example. For instance, the last one for me, the last visualization was something that I've done, that I do sometimes. I do it all the time, is a yoga class. But like when I do a good yoga class, I just feel there is like a deep feeling of groundedness, confidence, I feel aligned. And then, I cross paths with people during my day, or I just feel that really sense of empowerment. And if I go on a date or something, it definitely translates into feeling sexy, feeling hot, feeling sensual, feeling really connected to my body. So the ingredients might be, the elements might be, the room was really nice. I like when it's a hot yoga class, so I know heat helps my body really surrender and let go. I know that stretching is something that gets me to that. So once my body is really stretched, my body is warm, it's stretched, I kind of challenge myself on that level, I know that usually translates into feeling sensual, feeling connected to my senses, my body, but also feeling hot. So that's usually the best thing to do before a date. So I would love for you to put in the chat if there's one or two elements that came up from this, and hi for those who came just now or late. We did a little visualization that helped you see yourself as more sensual, more connected to your body, more confident in your body as a woman, but also feeling hot, feeling seen, feeling playful and flirty. So really, I hope this helped. We're already 26 minutes in, that's crazy. So I'm really grateful you joined me. And I just want to say, if you want to work with me, just send me a DM. I do a program that is over 12 weeks in really small groups of women, and we work on feeling sensual, feeling empowered, and it's really tapping into your feminine energy, your full self. And I specialize in women who are busy, who have a lot to juggle, a lot on their shoulders. And so even if you feel busy, even if you feel overwhelmed by life, you can definitely do this work. You can get there. You can get to that point where you feel so much more energy and abundance, and feeling more connected in your body, feeling more in harmony with your body. So you can do this work, and I can help you. So thank you, everyone. And